My fellow Americans, it is the 4th of July and the 250-year celebration of this great country. It may well be our last. Filthy commies in New York threaten God-fearing Americans in their beds and in their billion-dollar mansions. What can be done? Brendan O'Connell suggests that I, your commander-in-chief, cease being such a congenital fraudster and enriching myself to the tune of $2.8 billion and a small 747 plane from Qatar, which I promise I will be taking with me. Count on it. People like Brendan O'Connell get very frustrated when my administration does something very good and then turns right around and engages in the most egregious acts of stupidity and crass, corrupt behavior you can imagine. Pam Bondi screaming the Dow is at 50,000 when replying to allegations of sex trafficking by my former party buddy Jeff Epstein sure don't help the cause, I get it.
The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about.
But my super agent, EMANUEL, makes sure there is no serious opposition, so knock yourselves out. So look, the easy way out is to join a team. Scream love for me or scream hate for me. A lot of coffee mug sales and cross-promotion will result. This is the way of things in the age of destabilized perception.
The underlying aim, Surkov said, was not to win the war, but to use the conflict to create a constant state of destabilized perception in order to manage and control.
The politically astute get a headache trying to make sense of it all. The hairless apes lap up the spectacle of the World Wrestling Show, and power stays where it belongs, in the hands of the Wall Street whores who robbed the American taxpayer blind in 2008 and paid themselves bonuses. So when you're ready to stop selling coffee mugs online and start entering deep into your local political scene, maybe something will change. Till then, let the destabilized perception continue, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, one more thing. Let's get ready to rumble!
You think you're so clever with that AI O'Connell and your hand jokes? God bless America.
Hola, Internet amigos. Happy July 4th. Born on the 4th of July, America. God bless America, despite all your sins. What we're going to talk about today is everyone who's running around saying America sucks, the CIA did it, and forgetting about the Portuguese mass slaughter, the Spanish mass slaughter, the Soviet Union were the greatest mass slaughterers and genociders and enders of whole cultures in the world. But remember, America bad, America bad, America bad. But we're going to talk Candace Owens. We're going to focus on Candace Owens and how she is 1 degree of separation from Lord Jacob Rothschild himself, the Jewish Board of Deputies, via her homosexual husband, George Farmer. Lord Michael Farmer, his father, has been a multi-decade friend of Lord Jacob Rothschild. But apparently no one can tell you about it. And all I have to say to that is, you know what I think? We have to hoe right in the Council of Christians and Jews to make the point very early on in this introduction. Candace Owens' father-in-law is the vice chair of the Council of Christians and Jews 2024. Who's the head patron? King Charles himself. Jolly good and tally-ho. The man who wants to kill us all with a virus, with his daddy, because they love us so much. Oh no, tragedy. This king charged with Lord Jacob, which I hear they hate each other. Well, of course they do. Couple of trillionaires hating each other, and the rest assured they are united in a desire to kill us all. Not to worry and put us in a smart city. There's Lord Jacob. Let's go read the bottom bit here. The Rothschild family were involved at the start of the Council of Christians and Jews itself, founded in 1942 at the height of the unfolding tragedy of all the swimming pools and soccer fields at Auschwitz, at the tragedy of the Holocaust. Anthony de Rothschild was on our executive committee at our inception, and later Edmund de Rothschild was an honorary treasurer and vice president. At the same time, ladies and gentlemen, Victor Rothschild, Lord Jacob's daddy, was running around as a Soviet asset, and half the British establishment were working for the Soviet Union. But I digress.
With her blunt statement, Mrs. Thatcher, or those who briefed her, pointedly referred to only a few others. In fact, MI5 files listed 35 eminent persons as Soviet agents. These people worked in the highest levels of British government, industry, academia, and so on. Many were interviewed by me, and a number of them either committed suicide or died mysteriously shortly after they became aware of my interest in them. In other words, there was good reason to suspect that the establishment was rotten to the core with Russian agents. I know this because of my investigations into the rings of influence spreading out from the Ring of Five. I was stopped in this because my investigations were embarrassing.
Look, it's Lord Farmer, ladies and gentlemen. It's Candace OWENS' daddy-in-law with the gay son. Jolly good, tally-ho. He's the vice chair of the Council on Christians and Jews for multiple decades and very close friends with Lord Jacob Rothschild. Just a small matter, Candace, as you are taking on the perfidious Jew. I'm just curious why you haven't mentioned your close ties with the inner circle of Canary Wharf, the London Central Bankers, the City of London, and the absolute elite of British aristocracy. Anything to say, old young lady? Or will you take us on another super sleuthing journey to work out the colour of Charlie KIRK's underpants when shot? Let us read from this PDF from the Council of Christians and Jews. We would like to thank our trustees in particular, our chair, Bishop Sarah Bullock, Vice Chair Lord Farmer, that's Candace's daddy-in-law, and Treasurers Sue Nyman and Duncan Irving, and our trustees executive. And, quote, our Vice Chair Lord Farmer in particular has been a continuing support and has guided our work in many ways throughout his tenure. Jolly good and tally-ho. Let's remember Peter Wright. Half the British establishment were working as Soviet assets, including Victor Rothschild, Lord Jacob's daddy.
Good evening. The headlines at 6 o'clock. Mrs. Thatcher has declined for the moment to clear the name of Lord Rothschild, to say that he was not a Soviet spy, the so-called fifth man.
And apparently all of this inner circle have a big, juicy hard-on for Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, who is also very tied to the Rothschilds. You know, his very close friendship with Gerhard Schroeder. You know that chappie right there? That chappie? Yes, he's on the board of Rothschild there's Evelyn the Rothschild. And look, he's so friendly with our little friendly Russian dictator. Oh, look, jolly good and tally-ho, there's nothing to see here. And Gerhard is on the board of Gazprom, the Russian gigantic oil and gas. Oh, how sweet. There's nothing to see here, is there, Alex Craner? Nothing to see here at all. Oh, what's this? This is a current article from April 2026. Who is Gerhard Schroeder, Putin's pick for Ukraine peace talks mediation? And will he be acceptable to Ukraine in the West? This appeared in the news for 10 seconds. Well, who are those people? Rothschild. Klaus Schwab, best friends with Putin for 34 years as he attends Davos and the World Economic Forum. And Klaus tells us that he's a young global leader, along with Angela Merkel.
And I have to say, when I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. Mm-hmm. But what we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets.
Well, nothing to see here. I hope that little brief introduction sets the tone for the rest of this video. Jolly good, tally-ho. Let us attend.
In cyber is a real domain of power. In cyber is a real domain of power.
Now, before we move into Candace OWENS and some short selections from the Young Turks, they've kindly aggregated it for us. She's here on Shaun RYAN. Shaun RYAN, the self-admitted drug trafficker from Colombia, who apparently has nothing to say on a certain country on certain issues. Now, we can flog this dead horse all day, but I'm just going to focus on Lord Jacob Rothschild and how close Candace Owens is to that group of people. Canary Wharf, London Central Bankers, City of London, metal traders, Zach Goldsmith, Jimmy Goldsmith, the entire network she is this close to, but no one will address her on it. No, not a soul. I can't find a single thing online where anyone is going after her on the stuff we have exposed literally 100 times now. And this tells you how well the internet is completely polarized and completely controlled and held in that polar opposite. That's what it's for. It's this polar opposite like this, just held. So you can't move because you're trapped in the polar opposites, the dialectic. And then you will understand. There will be an end game to all this, and we have to obviously discuss that urgently. But before we do, let's talk Lord Jacob. Now, the link is below for previous where I've gone over this exact stuff. It goes nowhere, literally nowhere. In fact, I've noticed my views going down and down and down and down and down ever since I went after Candace on Lord Jacob. Now, I already knew they were involved with Jimmy Goldsmith and Canary Wharf as a metals trader for Red Kite. Red Kite. That's Candace Owens' daddy-in-law, father-in-law, Lord Michael Farmer. Okay, that's her boyfriend slash husband slash sperm donor, the homosexual. He's homosexual. He's not bisexual. Because he apparently entered his member into this woman to make a baby does not make him bisexual. I don't think he likes women. It's very clear he is pure homosexual. This is an arranged marriage, and he probably doesn't like it. In fact, many people who were originally funded by Rebecca Mercer and Cambridge Analytica, who funded the Steve Bannons of the world, and then they turned on Bannon and said, stop being a populist. He said that George Farmer is just a well-known homosexual. Milo Yinnopoulos came out and said it. Basically, this has been going on for years, since 2020, 2021. So this is not new, but it hasn't really got around, has it? Have you noticed that? So imagine I could Google in literally 30 seconds. It took me 30 seconds to put the name of Lord Michael Farmer, Lord Jacob Rothschild, to get up that both through the Jewish Board of Deputies and the the Council of Christians and Jews, that they've been multi-decade long friends and patrons. Right there in the heart of the City of London with King Charles himself. But Candace Owens believes she doesn't have to explain this to you. It's fine. Like Whitney Webb didn't have to explain a lot of things. Daddy's the CIA case officer. Candace Owens does not believe she does not owe you an explanation because nobody's asking her. Nobody's asking her, so she just keeps right on pushing along. But I hear she's a little worried. Because apparently someone said, don't worry, Candace. Even though you're 1 degree separated from Lord Jacob's network, it's okay. Nobody's going to push you on that. We'll push the homosexual angle, we'll throw innuendo, but we're not going to push the fact you are 1 degree away from Lord, the King Dracula himself. Dracula himself. It's okay. You're only 1 degree of separation. You've got a highly arranged whack job marriage where you admitted you flew first class. She let that slip. We flew first class and she said, I was on special. Because, as Jesus would do with Turning Point USA. Candace Owens was the handler, the advisor to Charlie KIRK. She got him together with Erika KIRK. That's Candace Owens from her own little mouth. Come on, man. I shouldn't have to say all this. This should be everywhere. It was like Milo Yinnopoulos, Marjorie Taylor Greene's little boy intern. Coming on Tim Pool, Chatham House Rules, Tim Pool, BB, I love BB, Tim Pool, and says, you betrayed the crown, you committed sedition, you've got to go back to the Catholic Church, the Vatican, and the crown. There's no democracy in heaven, and you've got to go back to and Nick Fuentes is the same, another homosexual.
What instead you have is the empty pomp and circumstance of the 4th of July. This rippling flag. Why do you love a flag so much? Because there's room to hide behind it. And the people who are really running the show, whose names none of us will ever learn, are what moved in instead of the king, instead of having, people will differ on this very violently. I appreciate that. I'm probably taking a minority view on this, but when we think about how the earthly order should reflect the heavenly order, that's the sort of basis of legitimacy of the papacy and monarchy, right? The way that societies are ordered reflects the heavenly order and conforms to nature in the way that, and our nature, the way that we design, the way that we work. And those are the best and happiest systems to live under. They work the best. The removal of the monarch from the top, and then these kind of weird self-sabotaging things like, we're just going to we're just going to trust that everybody's going to be Christian. So we'll outsource morality to Christianity, and we'll give people these extraordinary freedoms that don't exist anywhere else, that wreck society unless the whole population's Christian, right? You cannot give people the First and Second Amendment unless they're Christian. You just can't, because only with that kind of influence aren't in law anywhere. They exist in common law and in tradition and in custom in Europe. But this break, this rupture that happens with the sedition and getting rid of the king resets the clock in America, and there's none of those things to draw on. And just trusting that people are going to stay Christian and therefore be nice to each other was stupid. And I want America to succeed and to win, and it would have done so better as a member of the Commonwealth and good standing. Member of the Commonwealth and good standing.
Sexuals running around claiming Catholic, we're all Catholic converts. Yeah, I don't trust Catholic converts. I'll tell you this right now. If you're not militant Latin mass, you're not a Catholic convert. You're just another, I don't know, wannabe something. I understand converting to Judaism, the hope of a few temple shekels, but what's in it for you? Unless, it's too obvious to convert to Judaism. So you'll do Catholicism instead. The other ism, communism, Catholicism, Judaism. Beware those isms, capitalism. But you look, nobody wants to talk about this. So do you think that Lord Jacob and Lord Michael Farmer, being on the Council on Christians and Jews, he's the guy that funds the whole thing, and Lord Michael Farmer is the vice chair, the trustee, and the dominant financial patron, do you think that might be significant information? And we can it's a very, very simple little diagram I made. And then we get down to the Mercer Family Network. They were funding all that stuff, Brexit. They were funding Parler, and there's George Farmer on all of it. And there's Robert and Rebecca Mercer linked in with NATO, SCL Group, and Cambridge Analytica, who first got Trump in. They were the first in there. And then you have, of course, General Jim Jones, head of Dynology and Clear Force, psychologically profiling all Americans. Thank you, Patrick Berge. Who's best friends with Jim Jones? None other than Roger Stone, the closet bisexual, coke and meth addict, drug dealer, involved with steroids, bodybuilding, gay for pay, and, of course, growth hormone testing, would you believe? And this all ties in there with Peter Thiel and LooksMaxing and Clavicular, his little boy that Peter Thiel has. They're all tied in to steroid use and abuse. Now they're using peptides. They're testing peptides on young males in America, and the growth hormone testing that went on through the 90s. Into the 2000s, which I was the first to expose in Rats in the Ranks. And that's that network, a huge worldwide network. And there's Candace Owens sitting right in the middle of it. Okay, dear friends, without the English accent, this is an insert John Bravo film's Clavicular, and we're going to show you how that Clavicular, if you don't know who that guy is, he's prostituting young women, and he's deeply involved with the Israeli-Russian mob. Thank you, John Bravo. He does some great work exposing the steroid drug trafficking routes of all these little schoolgirls. They're worse than 13-year-old schoolgirls. If you ever want to see gossipers, it's the bodybuilding world. It's all homosexual, gay for pay, drug trafficking, drug dealing, drug money laundering, putting diamonds, prostitution, sex trafficking, and putting Chabad blood diamonds up their backsides and their vaginas to get $40 million of drug money out of Florida and over into Israel and Dubai. That's what's going on. Listen up.
So this is Clav's friend Androgenic, another asshole who got famous for doing nothing but being bald and getting his wig knocked off his head in public. Well, while he was live streaming, in walks Clav, waving his hand around like an asshole to cut the camera. And when you look behind him, you see this mysterious guy walking in the door with his sharmuta wife behind him.
That's the Israeli mob, all 5'4" of him.
And
I should say Israeli-Russian mob, Florida.
His security guard. Now this is Hiwak Need, the guy who really owns the Baccarat Club.
See his little Kabbalah necklace?
And he came to have a secret meeting with Clav, but he's got a bit of a shady past. He's a convicted felon and rumored to be tied to the Israeli mob. I didn't even know they had mobs in Israel. What is that shit?
Oh, John Bravo. You didn't know they had mobs in Israel?
Shit.
And this is Shaun from Israel too.
Nice to meet you as well. Clav, how are you guys?
Hello, how are
what do you
you?
think? Places
God, I thought it was Miriam Adelson for a minute.
looking good, right?
I did. It's my dad.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you, sir. Clav.
Oh, the Israeli-Russian mob. Look at them all. Look at them.
An enforcer for an Israeli crime group has been sentenced to more than 10 years in federal prison for racketeering. Hayek Nin, a 35-year-old Israeli national who lives in Marina del Rey, asked for leniency Monday, but citing his extensive criminal history, U.S. District Judge Manuel Real gave Waknin 13 months in prison beyond the 9 years that the prosecutors were recommending. He had faced 46 counts of racketeering, extortion, conspiracy, and other charges stemming from an alleged scheme to hide money embezzled from an Israeli bank by loaning it out in Miami and Los Angeles.
It's called drug money laundering.
All the rumors are true. And officially say I was a part of one of the biggest real estate deals.
And that little fella, Peter Thiel's little boyfriend, like a Jacob Hellberg, Kevin Raboy's boyfriend, where Peter Thiel and Sam Altman officiated at the gay wedding. All of these little groups can be joined. They can all be joined. It's all drug money laundering, blood diamonds up rectums, blood diamonds up vaginas, prostitution, sex trafficking, and it's in full view. It's on Twitch streams, it's on YouTube streams, and it's all allowed to continue. Not a problem. It's all allowed to continue. You can tie in Roger Stone, Sheriff Israel of Broward County, where Roger Stone's son is a sheriff. He's a Chabad Lubavitcher. He's running drugs. It's just one giant army intelligence, retired generals, Israeli, Russian drug money laundering operation. That's all it is. All of this stuff, all of this LooksMaxing, all of these steroid freaks, all of this manosphere, Andrew Tate. And how do you link it all in with Candace Owens? Look at George Farmer, her gay husband, the homosexual Oxford graduate.
You're about to watch an amazing interview with George Farmer. He grew up evangelical. He went to Oxford. He converted to Catholicism. He ran a hedge fund. And then he met Candace Owens, the amazing American influencer. And having just met her 17 days later, he asked her to marry him, and she said yes. Today we talk about his fantastic, interesting life, his theology, his...
To those of you who think that you are going to replace Charlie KIRK, okay? Kings are born. You don't just get to depose and tell us that we're going to follow this individual, okay? I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA.
Who is literally best friends with Andrew Tate, who's all part of this same scene. They all scream about Israel, and they're all involved with the Israeli-Russian mob. And they're all in Dubai, drug money laundering, blood diamonds. That's why the girls, the Russian hookers, are all over Dubai, run backwards and forwards, their vaginas filled to the brim with diamonds and other things. And that's what they do, night and day. Everybody knows it. The police know it. Interpol knows it. The FBI knows it. The CIA knows it. And it just goes on and on and on in full freaking view. And this freak show is encouraging your teenage daughter to become an OnlyFans prostitute and your teenage boy to deform himself and inject things without any prescription, any oversight, and then just handing out steroids now like a damn lolly. So you tell me if this isn't the degenerating of particular American culture so that Milo Yinnopolous, the gay savior, can come in and say, if you will just go back to the crown and King Charles, everything will be ordered and fine. First, they create the massive drug crisis, the police state. Then they make it illegal. And then they tell you, if you just accept all the flock cameras and the AI and the automated systems, it'll all be fine. And Ari and Rahm Emanuel, all these Israeli, Russian, Jewish gangsters are going to save you. And the dumb goy rats, just see the dumb goy rats right there. They sit and they perpetuate it. And that's the great game that links an Andrew Tate, a streetwalking thug, drug dealer, sex trafficker, with a little gay boy from the deep reaches of the British high society establishment in the City of London. That's how they're all linked. Back to the video. I find that fascinating. What's this? This is the magazine of the Council of Christians and Jews. Now remember how I said Candace Owens' husband is close to the Jewish Board of Deputies, and people said, oh, why do you say they're Jews? They're not Jews. I said, I never said they were Jews. I said they were sitting on the Jewish Board of Deputies, which is like the crown corporate elite priesthood. So here is the magazine of the Council of Christians and Jews, of which George, the homosexual farmer, is daddy is one of the heads of and chief patron. There's King Charles. Jolly good, Telly her. There's King Charles, our wonderful paternalistic master, who graciously wants to cull us all. Isn't that kind? The good thing is he hates Lord Rothschild, but they all just fight over who shall get to kill the dumb guy. Don't they, King Charles? But that's why Charles was over at the beginning of the year begging for a role in the Middle East. That's why you had Mark Carney there saying, if the middle powers don't get together and get a seat at the table, we'll be on the menu.
Argue the middle powers must act together because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. But I'd also say that great powers can afford for now to go it alone. They have the market size, the military capacity, and the leverage to dictate terms. Middle powers do not.
I've got to repeat this again and again because not a soul, I watch all the Canadian channels crying, they won't touch that comment, not one. And you see the lead up. They knew that the Trump administration and the US elites were going to take out globalist Iran and free the Straits of Hormuz, and the US would control the Straits of Hormuz, which is what? All the oil and gas and the energy to China and India, and all the gas and energy to guess where? To Europe. Who sits on that and controls that now? So that's why they ran around like chooks with their heads cut off in a panic, running to China, Starmer, the wet rag, Fabian socialist halfwit. I mean, their good help is hard to find, ladies and gentlemen. But you try and find a single other person. I defy you. I want you to find someone. So if they're half normal, I can say, oh, we need to form a group. But we can't reach anyone. The internet's too cut off. I can't find anyone for help. You got to praise Trump as a god, a literal god man, like Susan Kokinder and the little whores down at Promethean Action and Tom Luongo. And you got to praise him like a god. Or you have to hate his guts all day, Trump derangement syndrome. And there's where you make your money. I prefer both. He's a piece of shit. Crypto rich, baby. I've got you on video saying Trump is a piece of shit. But you just sit there all day pushing people that praise him. This is why I cannot stand the lie. I just can't stand it. I want to be with true intellectuals, fact-orientated people. And oh my God, I forgot to put the lights back on. There's a long break. I had to do some bit more research. Kill my eyes. So there's King Charles. It's all one big club. All their kids go to the same private schools, at the same coke dealers. They go see the same elite prostitutes. They go to the same London nightclubs. They were the ones that pulled in all the migrants, all those dark-skinned migrants. They let them run riot, and now you're meant to go out and have a kill and have a civil war with them. But you're not going to get these effers and their elite London nightclubs. You're going to go out. Tommy Robinson isn't exposing all the London central bankers. Have you heard Tommy Robinson expose Rothschild or a London central banker? No? Oh, well, there you go. Doesn't that tell you something? And they're all, there's the Anglican Church, and we've got female priests, and just making sure these are the real communists. These are the Mandami's just another front. He's going to help create the New York smart city. They'll probably do it in Seattle, Washington as well. That's why they told her, the Republicans told her, we've abandoned Washington state. They're not even interested. No, because that's reserved for the blue-haired devils. That's reserved for all the non-binary confused half-wits. And then first they got the non-binary confused half-wits, and then they came for the patriots. That's right. They're going to lock them up first, and you're going to cheer. Yay! And then they're coming for you. Mark my words. It's a club, and you and I ain't in it. So as we come down, we shall find, oh, there he is, only a small photo. He's a humble chap just behind my head there. There's Lord Michael Farmer, daddy of homosexual George Farmer.
Well, I think if we believe the polls anymore, I think it's fairly early days. This is a month-long election campaign.
Who's funding all this stuff? He funds good old Jimmy Goldsmith's son, Zach Goldsmith. They're all Jemima Goldsmith. She's half-sister to Lady Di. And there's Russell Brand. Now you understand how all these people get together. No one wants to talk to Russell Brand anymore. No one wants to talk to Candace Owens. Ian Carroll's gone. He won't have anything to do with her. The Green Beret boy, he's gone. Valhalla, he's gone. Nobody wants to talk to her anymore. But no one will speak out and say, you know what? I think there's a slight problem with Candace and her 1 degree of separation from Dracula himself. Isn't it strange? Isn't it strange? Let's go over a couple of things, shall we? The Young Turks, another member, Soros money all day, every day. Cenk, that big, ugly, fat pig of a thing, a perfect match for Alex Jones. They're all friends. They all hate each other. They're frenemies. He goes to the elite Wharton School of Business. He's had a major drug, cocaine, hooker, and alcohol habit, but at least Cenk's not into little boys and girls. So we'll give Cenk that. Wait a minute. Do I have a cheer? Do I have a cheer? No, we've got these are workers' hands. Damn. Oh, sorry, I don't have it there. I don't have all my... Oh, applause. Here we are. This is an applause for Cenk of the Young Turks because Cenk is not into little boys and girls. He's just a coke addict, into hookers and alcohol, and gambling is his big one. He's big on gambling. Thank you, Cenk. Practically a saint. There we go. Practically a saint. Well done, Cenk. But Cenk attends the same school as Trump. It was Wharton Business. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're all in the same family, same coke dealers, same hookers, and they're all fighting each other. Yeah, I think we can work it out. But let's just let the Young Turks speak a little bit here. So this is Candace on Shaun RYAN. Now, just to get Shaun RYAN up, just a couple of things on him. Please remember this image. Do you know a lot about Scottish Rite Masonry? I am an expert on Scottish Rite Masonry in particular. Very different from the continental US Masonry. It's a little different, very different. A lot of the lodges in the US, and I knew quite a few people, Scottish Rite dominates Australia as well, but not all. They are very anti-Jewish in the United States, have a history of anti-Jewish, anti-Catholic, anti-black in the US lodges, the WASP, the White Anglo-Saxon Protestant lodges. So there's a very specific history, and they don't like it when you start equating them as Judaism for Gentiles. There's a reason for that. They see it as beyond Jews. This goes back to ancient Egypt, Mufkut, monatomic gold, and the mystery of synchronizing your right and left hemispheres of your brain to then you will balance the masculine and feminine, and then you will know God. You will have a direct experience of the Godhead. Now, most of them cheat these days. I'm giving you gold here. I used to know a lot of, they tried to recruit me for decades. And now they take LSD, they take a lot of drugs to try and bring out the same stuff. And you will see that when they move into the Smart Cities program, they're going to need a new quasi religion. It'll be new agey things. Find yourself. You'll take ayahuasca. You'll go on trips to Central and South America, Mexico to have rebirthing ceremonies. Joe Rogan will be there. EMANUEL. They'll corporatize the whole process. You go on teenage boy, find yourself journeys. Maybe you'll go skydiving as an initiation process, and then you'll take some ayahuasca, and it'll be this quasi new age, old age, religious, indigenous type of activities. That's the new religion coming in combination with the metrosexual, ball shaving, cafe latte set who'll go into New York, and it'll be a very beautiful Smart Cities program. They've got their communitarian religion / communism. It's called communitarian now. Thank you, Nikki Rapana. If you know Nordica Friedrich, her daughter, please get in touch with Mary Silver. Mary Silver has been trying to get in touch with Nikki Rapana's daughter. The great Nikki Rapana, may she rest in peace. The Anti-Communitarian Manifesto should be compulsory reading, but it won't be. She was the one who outed Amatai ETZIONI, aka Werner Falk, the other German Jewish existentialist to come out of Germany. He then went, Kissinger came to America. This guy went to Britain, then to Israel, and he was Israeli military intelligence. He's now at Georgetown, and his son is in Seattle, Washington. His son is actively working in Seattle, Washington. We're going to name him, photograph him, put him out there on the list. We've got to start making lists of these people now. We've got to get them nervous. Got to get them very nervous that we know what you are. You're not just putting your point of view of the world. You're out to destroy the United States. You're out to destroy the Republic. You're out to destroy the Bill of Rights. You're out to destroy the Constitution. We get it. You are National Socialists / communists. You are collectivists. You are kibbutzim people. Okay? And it's time you got on a plane and went to your natural home, Highgate, London, or Paris, France, or Frankfurt, Germany, or Basel, Switzerland. Time to leave. Want them nervous. We're going to name them, and shame them and picture them. And we're going to send the lists around. So that's Amatai ETZIONI's son. We've got to get a whole dossier on him. He's in Seattle, Washington as we speak. But old Amatai, he must be dead soon or later, but he's training up AOC. All right, for that old Israeli Chinese manufactured smart city. That was the original plan. It's in shambles, but they've decided that what they're going to do is Mandami is literally there with Chabad. Mandami's sucking, he's on his knees to Chabad. It's amazing. They all fight, but my God, when Chabad, the raving, lunatic, Russian City of London intelligence network, friends with Nathaniel Rothschild, friends with Paul Manafort, friends with Vladimir Putin, friends with the board of the Rothschilds, Gerhard Schroeder, who's best friends with Vladimir Putin, the anti-globalist who's best friends with Klaus Schwab. Oh yeah, Alex Krainer. Retarded. Oh man, he's Alex Krainer. Boy, you're only 10, 15 years late, but not to worry, Alex. I'm sure the money's good. You start to see this vast network. And they'll play right, they'll play left. And Mandani's there in New York destroying it. Everyone's going, oh, isn't this terrible? This is the plan. First we burn it down, then we rebuild it. As Dr. Steve Pachanik said on Alex Jones, let the damn cities burn. That's a quote. They're getting ready to break the country up and you will cheer. You'll be clasping your Bible in your hand. Here's my Bible. That's my Bible. For now. Well, it's not my Bible. I'm just trying to make a point. Theirs should be your Bible. I'm never going to stop talking about Chris Boleyn and 9/11. It was solved in 2007, 2008. We don't need to go any further. Read that book. There you go. Names, dates, places, LLCs, you name it. They're getting ready to break up the country, and it's going to be a soft breakup. It's not going to be a hard breakup. There could be a civil war, but there won't be. They don't have to. They're just going to, all the half-wits are sitting at home with their AR-15 complaining about Mexicans, and that's the way they like it. No one's lining up to hang Wall Street bankers by the neck and dangle from their ankles with children like a swing. Nobody's talking about that. We're talking about the Mexicans, and they've got brown skin, and they're raping our white daughters, and stirring. Armand Hammer, Army Hammer is out there making that. It's atrocious. That movie they're putting out is just bad. It's so bad. They're acting the script. But, that's the great-grandson of Armand Hammer, the billionaire communist. A bit like Bill Browder, whose daddy was head of the Communist Party. You understand these people? These are crackers in Armani, baby. These are not humble communists sharing their sugar and milk with their neighbor. No. These are the funders of these movements. So they're going to make a smart city program. And there's Candace Owens right there. It's in your face. All right? That is pure red imagery. She's the checkerboard. Pure Masonic, City of London, Scottish Rite Mason. The Jews of Scotland, laddie. You think they're all from Glasgow, do you? Is that what you think? No, these aren't the lads from Glasgow who'll give you a Glasgow kiss, laddie. Like I knew. No. Know me wee laddies and lassies. These are the Jews of Scotland. When Scotland was Jewish, DNA evidence, archaeology, analysis of migrations and public and family records show 12th century Semitic roots. Elizabeth Caldwell Hirschman and Donald L. And these are just perfectly nice Jews just giving you some history. That's it. I just think, what's the problem? The popular image of Scotland is dominated by widely recognised elements of Celtic culture, but a significant non-Celtic influence on Scotland's history has perhaps been largely ignored for centuries. This book argues that much of Scotland's history and culture from 1100 forward is Jewish. The authors provide evidence that many of the national heroes, villains, rulers, nobles, traders, merchants, bishops, guild members, burgesses, and ministers of Scotland were of Jewish descent, their ancestors originating in France and Spain. And where's my book? Oh, where are you? Thank God for the pause button. There's me book, me wee laddie, The Court Jews. From Court Jews to the Rothschild, 1600, 1800. Fascinating book. Really interesting. Just names the names. Oh, you anti-Semite. Maybe Candace Owens will tell us all about it. I doubt it very much because she'd be naming her main employer. So, but I just find it very, very interesting, don't you? When you combine that with that. Let's get a checkerboard up. I want you to look at that. That's the checkerboard, the grand chessboard. And that's her. She's the checkerboard. That's what that pose is. 100%, no ifs, no buts. Who else can we tie into this? Let's have a wee look, shall we? See that painting of Roger Stone as Napoleon doing that pose? Can you see it there? That's from the documentary Get Me Roger Stone, where he's, licking the breast of a transgender prostitute on the street, because he's such a Christian. Painting of Roger Stone as Napoleon, and then these are all the poses that they do. Sign of the Master of the Second Veil, Royal Archmason, York Rite. From George Washington to Karl Marx to Friedrich Nietzsche, Baron von and so on and so forth. They just can't seem to help themselves. You got to do that little pose. And then you've got what's-his-face, Marcus is one of the biggest YouTube channels. He's talking to Bill Gates regularly. He talks to all the big players. I'm sure it's just a bit of fun that he wears that T-shirt. Just a bit of fun. Nothing to see here. Don't worry about it. Nice pyramid. That's the front of the Perth District Court, which sent me to jail for 3 years with the big pyramid out the front. That's a private building, by the way. It's leased by the government. It's not the government. The court building is not the government. It's a private building administered by a Polish Jew. He administers the whole freaking thing. And I put in my document, you are a Masonic temple. You can't try me. And Catholic Chief Judge Martino loved it. And I said to him, you haven't even read it, Your Honor. It was my thing saying, I had a hearing. I said, just before the trial, you can't try me. You're a Masonic temple. I'm a Catholic. I'm a traditional Catholic. And I want a common law court with rulings and the right styles and titles by Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, and a common law, British common law, which is technically the rules. And you're a Jewish Masonic Revolutionary Temple. You can't try me. And it was a very good article. And they threatened to have me mentally health assessed, the prosecutor, and I called him a pedophile. And all the security at the courts were excited when I come in. They would fight to take my to do the security because they said it's going to be on. It's going to be hilarious. And they all told me this. They all shook my hand. Everybody shook my hand. Everybody involved, from the prison guards to the court security to the court workers, you name it. And I said to the judge, you haven't even read it, Your Honor. And he said, no, I've read it, every word. And he'd read it. They never knew about this stuff. And you can't see it, but that's the Perth Entertainment Centre. That was just before I left. I was actually on my way to sign my bail conditions. This is when I did the runner and left for Malaysia. And there's a big Star of David on the side. And when you look at that building, if you can see over here in that section, you can't see it from here, but that white section, when you sit in the car park of Parliament House on the hill behind here is Parliament House, West Australia, it's a beautiful big white glowing pyramid. That's Kerry Stokes and the Jesuit gang over there who are best friends with Netanyahu. They've moved in completely into Perth, Western Australia. It's been completely taken over by Jewish power, completely taken over. You'll also see it in Malaysia with the Twin Towers. It's Joachim and Boas. Let me make the point. It's an absolutely stunning building at night. I love Kuala Lumpur. I absolutely love that place. The Kuala Lumpur City Centre, those Twin Towers are amazing. What they don't tell you and what you won't notice is the Petronas Twin Towers, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, is the Bank of China obelisk in the background. When you look through there on a full moon, you'll see the Twin Towers, and there is the Bank of China. That is the Bank of China with an all-seeing eye. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Joachim and Boas. Have a look.
Curious, there's the moon. I wonder if that lines up. What's today? 25th of July, 2018. Because there's the obelisk, the hand bank with the all-seeing eye. And if you look, that lines up with that, and there's the moon.
It's everywhere, this stuff, because Malaysia is not controlled by Islam. I'll assure you of that. That's why Mahathir Mohamad was always at Oxford going, Jews have big noses. Hey, Mahathir Mohamad, why don't you tell us about 9/11? Oh, no, the CIA did it with George Bush and good old James Corbett. I mean, you can't see these you can't see through these people? Oh, come on. Out of interest, I want you to look at, this is in the Kuala Lumpur Twin Towers. When I posted this, I said, have a look at this. When I posted this, they took it down the next day. It was gone. What's that saying? You've got an Asian woman covering her ear. There's a black guy, a Nigerian drug dealer who's come to launder his drug money in Kuala Lumpur. And you've got a black woman saying no and a white woman with her legs spread. Gee, What could the symbology of that be, I wonder, as the families casually walk past? That'll be a Russian in oil and gas there, a Ukrainian. It was gone the next day. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. What could that be? What's the subliminal messaging? White woman pointing to the black guy, the Asian aunt, which is supposedly it's in Asia, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. And she's pointing, spreading her legs, pointing to the black guy there like this. And there's a black woman saying no because, the white woman is taboo. And they stuck that up and nobody noticed except me, apparently. But then I am a Scorpio. We notice everything. And yeah, it's just everywhere. That is everywhere. So they run everybody. I'm sorry, they do. They truly run everyone. They all fight. They all carry on. But the hand comes down, the money hand comes down, and suddenly they all get in line. They all get in line. And right now you have a gigantic battle between US elites, that's the wasp, skull and bones, coffin masturbators, against the old empire. That's what you see. They came to me. They didn't know. No matter what you believe, get it through your thick skull. Mike Pompeo, General Mattis, Fred Smith, Skull and Bones, best friend with George W. Guess what? They don't sit around watching YouTube videos all day or reading obscure books like this. I know it's hard to believe. They came to me, all the Jesuits came out, all the Catholic Jesuits came out of the woodwork, surrounded me, Opus Dei. They didn't try to kill me. They were saying, these things are handled quietly. Jesuits no longer dance to tune of former masters, Justice Mazza wrote in the West Australian newspaper, owned by Kerry Stokes, another Jesuit. And I'm sitting there going, and they're all best friends with Netanyahu. I don't get it. Unless Netanyahu is a literal asset. I don't know. You tell me. I'm trying to get people to work it out. These people did not try to kill me. They were trying to help me. Do you think it could be that it's not complicated? It's just that all the lower dickheads don't really know. They don't understand. Wasn't there a time when you didn't understand how things work? I didn't understand everything until I was 35 years old. 2005 was when I finally got it. Jewish power is almost absolute, but only in the sense they have to operate in the dark. I didn't understand how big and powerful they were. I just couldn't believe it. Then it became obvious. Epstein, sex rings, blackmail, bribery. If I print the money and got the cash and understand that landowners were considered the elites and moneylenders were considered the lowest rung. And that's how they got power. They had the money and the gold. They were often killed too. I might add, you wanted to get rid of your debts, just kill your Jewish banker. So let's not make it all bad. Remember, in many ways, Jews were forced into this profession. They weren't allowed to own land. They couldn't join a whole range of industries. And basically, you could argue they were forced into moneylending. That was their way of getting by. And organized crime. They were almost forced into it. So pious Christians didn't have to be moneylenders. Beautiful, pious Christians. So let's be fair here. But I don't know why it is no one can form a fist and expose Tucker Carlson and Candace OWENS, because the other team don't want to mention Lord Jacob Rothschild. But I don't know. You tell me why it is no one can work out Candace OWENS when it's just sitting in front of everyone's face. I mean, it's so obvious. It's almost embarrassingly annoying. It's annoying me. Let's just play a little bit of this. Again, it's all linked below.
Something happened to Trump, right?
Yeah, Madison Pompeo got a hold of him. Yes, that's correct. And got rid of Kissinger and Madeleine Albright. And the head Marilyn Houston was forced to resign. Yeah, they threw them all out. That is correct.
But something happened to all of them.
I mean...
And while we're on the subject, sorry, Shaun RYAN. Boy, Shaun, that's an interesting devil's horns you've got there. Very interesting. Let's have a look. All the red, and you look at some of his shots. The bar, it's red and black, and you've got a nice... No one said V, it's V for vendetta. What does it mean? No, I got a better idea. It's a ram's head. It's a goat's head. Straight out of Scottish Rite Masonry. Oh, and then this is the call for help. Remember when you had Russell Brand putting his hands up like that? We should get that up. There you go. Let's get Russell up. Russell's doing the same hand signs. Oh, look, it's 33. He's a Grand Master teacher, ladies and gentlemen. It's in front of everyone's face. You know, Russell Brand, that guy. You know that guy. You know the Christian, he's found Jesus. You remember this guy, Andrew Tate, friend of George Farmer, the homosexual. They've been friends for like 15 years. How interesting. And he's doing the Count of Monte Cristo. He's got his yeshiva-trained lawyer in the US. You've got Russell Brand hanging with Noah Harari. You know, you might want to look all that stuff up. You've got Russell Brand is 1 degree of separation. He went out with Jemima Goldsmith. Her brother Zach is financed by George Farmer's daddy, who's 1 step away from Lord Jacob Rothschild. Zach is married to Alice Rothschild, Jacob's granddaughter. Did Russell think that maybe he'd like to explain himself about that? Now, why should I explain myself? You know, Jemima Goldsmith, Jimmy Goldsmith, all those people linked all the way back to Kerry Stokes from Kerry Packer. And James Packer, his son, is best friends with Netanyahu. Jeez. You'd think someone would pick up on this stuff. I mean, there are a few thousand of you, but it doesn't go anywhere. Has never gone anywhere, ever. You know, and, you know, they're all there. Whitney's on there. They're all cross-promoting each other. You know, he goes out with Katy Perry, the arch-illuminist. He's there. There's Jemima. There's Jemima married to Pakistani Imran Khan with Lady Di, half-sister. There's Jimmy Goldsmith. I've got to go over this stuff. I'm getting sick of it. What's this one about? Whitney Webb. I will be on with Russell Brand for the second half of his show today. Show is live now. And that's where this is. Someone wrote in, ask him about this, Joe Maz. She didn't have much to say. And the same as when she was pulled up going on Blaze TV with Glenn Beck. And then the next day he had Netanyahu on. And they said, what the hell's going on, Whitney? I'm not responsible for who he has on next. No, that's the wrong answer, Whitney. We know Daddy Richard Webb IV is a CIA case officer and drug trafficker, or drug money launderer to be precise. But, you know, come on. But, I mean, I don't know, ladies and gents. I just feel like I'm a parrot, but people have said, no, keep repeating it. Keep repeating it. So I keep repeating it. So anyway, let's get back to Shaun RYAN and Candace OWENS, who I'm sure don't have anything in common at all. I mean, like nothing in common at all. Where can we find the checkerboard? Where can we find our favorite image? Absolutely nothing to see here. Absolutely nothing to see here. We're not straining at gnats here. We're not picking gnat shit out of pepper. We're not finding little details that suit our narrative. It's the same standard operation. There's sets. Suddenly he's making hundreds of thousands. He makes on average, just from his Patreon, do you know how much he makes from his Patreon per month? And this was like 5 years ago. $60,000 a month just off his Patreon. So you understand how much money these people are making. The cross promotion that goes on. All right, these are all Army intelligence Masonic organizations. Every last one of them linked in with GCHQ, NATO, Marine psychological warfare programs, all of them. We've learnt nothing. And of course, I forgot to mention that other person who actually made Shadowgate. It's good old... We've got our little Masonic. We've got the sex rings, loves sharing his wife with other men, loves watching other men have sex with his wife because he's bisexual. That's Roger Stone, the good Christian. But there's his other good buddy. Let's get him up, shall we? Let's get him up. Where are you, my friend? My little buddy? Got that one. You know who that is? That's Gavin WINCE, who made Shadowgate with Millie Weaver. Pat Berge exposed this. He sent me this. That's Gavin. Gavin's a nice guy. He wasn't hiding anything. He said, yeah, but can't you see Jesus, free the slaves? It's all linked in. No, this is the replacement. This is the overly intellectualized approach to God. Their favorite author is Carl Gustav Jung. And Patrice Bullard is the head of France NATO. He's now dead. And there's Gavin. And he exposed Shadowgate, but didn't mention Israel. Pretty interesting. 100%, 1,000% off the record. Sorry, Gavin, it's the age of the internet. Nothing's off the record. I can share his name. He was the Secretary General for OTAN, which is France, NATO, and others. Can you say older or pre-existing security protocols? So what he's saying is, well before NATO is the Grand Orient Lodge. You're seeing the delegates from the Grand Orients of France, Italy, and others. And then he's copied out, and you can't see what else he wrote. That's Gavin WINCE. That's Millie Weaver's husband. Gavin used to work at Lockheed, and I presume he's a member of the Jason Society as well, I'd guess. Is Gavin WINCE evil? No. Is Millie Weaver? Absolutely not. Gavin is a really nice freaking guy, but he believes. The lower rungs are never really told the truth. And even when they are ostensibly good and mean well, the ability to go and get to the top of the pyramid and corrupt them and then have the lower echelons doing dirty work. You see how dangerous these secret handshakes are? And I know many of you have contacted me and have said, no, we're doing good. We're American nationalists. Yeah, I get it, but dude, don't tell me you're a Christian and a lodge member. It's one or the other. It's one or the other. Jesus said, I have spoken openly in the temple, and in secret I have said nothing. Don't put Jesus on your fucking lips and then claim lodge membership, and that includes you, Steve Bannon. Lie after lie after lie. You're all lying through your teeth 24/7. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Things will not go well if you continue this. Just shut your stinking pie holes and just be a Mason. Just be a Jungian intellectual. Get your intellectual approach to God and the Godhead. You're not inherently evil. You are wrong without question in my eyes, from my own practical experience. We must go to the feminine, which is the irrational. There are things that exist outside what we would call time and space and reality. They're in other dimensions. Quantum mechanics will even tell us this. And as we see the merging of science and religion, things that were once miracles, now we understand as quantum physics, tapping into the 0-point energy, as Jesus could do. That is a miracle. But now it's just science, no worries. I'm talking to someone, I talked to Mary last night, and I'm just talking from 3,000 miles away like it's nothing. That's a miracle. That's incredible. And one day we'll find out that Jesus could resonate his entire body, his entire cells were resonating to the 0-point. He could just tap in and touch you and transfer that rejuvenating 0-point energy, the life, the God force itself, into another human being. He could raise the dead. He rose from death himself out of the 0-point. One day we'll find out as we merge science and religion and we come to that true enlightenment and understanding. And nothing is said in secret. When you talk in secret and you tell lies, you're on the demonic path. The feminine is rejected. That's why they're all homos and they all hate women. All right? They're not even bisexuals. Nick Fuentes hates women. George Farmer hates women. They hate women. Have to mate with them on occasion because they're ordered to for the look. The feminine is rejected. They want pure, rational, Luciferian logic. No irrational feminine. That's the feeling when you go, I'd really like to kill that person because they're getting in the way of my whatever. Or I'll kill a couple of billion because that makes the numbers are right. The numbers all make sense if I do that, if I kill 1 million people and I'll save the earth. But something says, well, how can I do that? Look at that mother with her child that loves the child. Look at that happy family in India. Look at that Chinese family working hard and he's got the daughter on his knee and they're eating and laughing just like us. And that is the irrational feminine. They hate it, which is what calms and stops the king going too far. The masculine goes too far. The feminine steps in and says, woha, it's called the wisdom of the Holy Spirit. It's feminine in nature. Wisdom, she sits by the gates. Mary stays on earth. Mary doesn't ascend. The spirit comes down to earth. We're in the feminine now. Mary doesn't have to ascend to be with the Holy Trinity, the greatest blasphemy Vatican II ever. Ever. Mary is us. We stay on the earth and the spirit comes down, if we'll call it down. And they're humble enough to hear that voice. You can only hear it through the irrational feminine, through the feeling tone, through your gut. That's how God communicates, in a whisper. That's why they hate it and they want to block it off. That's why they're all depressed. They're all engaged in every sexual deviancy under the sun. They're popping all the meth and the coke and the high quality pharmaceutical grade drugs, desperately trying. They're microdosing LSD. They're microdosing magic mushrooms. They're microdosing ketamine, desperately trying to avoid the terror, the void of complete loneliness and existential despair. And they want to drag us all to hell. And if they just get the perfect AI mathematical model, just like the Matrix says, we want a perfect mathematical model with no remainder. There'll always be a splinter in the eye. There will always be a thorn in the flesh. There will always be a burdensome stone. You are not God. End of story. And so you have good, ostensibly good, nice people like Gavin and Millie Weaver, who strangely forgot to mention Israel through their entire stuff. But nonetheless, Shadowgate, which is always linked below my videos, is an excellent production that must be watched. Gives you a good understanding. Pat Berge gives a good understanding of what they're up to. It's this vast network. And there's nice people like Gavin, and there's absolute scum, filthy scum. Like, where is he? That scum. He's just, you know the rumors about him for decades. His raping of young 14, 15-year-old girls, filling them with cocaine and ecstasy. He is well known. This scumbag, a literal sex trafficker, and he's wandering around completely free. He's been totally exposed and he's just wandering around free. And everyone's forgotten, hey, whatever happened to Andrew Tate with the 70,000 pages of documents of evidence showing how he's clearly laughing with his brother about beating the crap out of him, locking him in the house, socially isolating them and getting as many of these bitches to work for you as possible, right on the record. And he's wandering around free as a bird. How is that even freaking possible? I'll tell you how. It's that. That's how. It's that. That's how. That's his best buddy. George Farmer's best buddy. She was Erika. She was Charlie KIRK's handler. She introduced him to Erika KIRK. She did. She had her own self-admissions. I would advise him on women. He was very naive, Charlie. She was the communications director. Was she fired because she married Gay Boy in 2018? Who is benefiting from the assassination of Charlie KIRK? And I respect that you don't believe Charlie KIRK's dead. That's not unreasonable speculation. But I think when you look at it, the most likely explanation is he is dead. It's much easier just to kill him. Since when? They wouldn't care. And Charlie KIRK, as much as I actually quite despise him, I think he's a piece of garbage, who was laughing about the genocide of the Palestinians. He was laughing on the damn record going, ha, ha, ha. You got no roofs left for Hamas to throw all the gay supporters of Palestine off. Oh, he's a really lovely Christian, that guy. They saw the light. My ass. They saw the demographic statistical analysis and realized we're really in trouble now. Oh, genocide's bad. Boo, Israel. Yeah, you believe he was sitting there in the White House going, don't invade Iran, Joe Kent with your hardcore leftist wife. Don't invade Iran. Yeah, of course, don't invade Iran. Don't invade globalist Iran because that's Candace Owens' friends. That's their little network. That's their little network there. But you believe that? Charlie KIRK's dead. He's cold and dead. His hand that you saw, right, that's called mortician makeup. It looks plasticky because he's grey and now he's pale. Now that he's dead and there's no blood flow to him, perfusing to his skin, he's grey and yucky and blotchy. So they make up people. That's what they do. All right, she's weird to begin with, plus she's in that evangelical nutcase, which apparently read their Bibles, but haven't worked out when Jesus told them, no, when you're in heaven, you are like an angel. There's no marriage in heaven. But they tell everyone you get married and you live with God in your little 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom McMansion with God. No. Not only is there no democracy in heaven, there's no marriage in heaven, as Jesus plainly said. But why? They just cherry pick whatever they want to believe. But they're so nutty, right? They're so terrified of loneliness and they're so messed up in the head, these evangelicals. They believe this triping garbage. Erika KIRK's a weirdo. Do I believe she's in on it? No, I don't believe she's in on it. Do I believe she's just another little rat taking orders and just running around to Romania and going to orphanages and doing stuff? Yes. Is she inherently evil? No. Weird? Yes. But as people have told me, they're all like that. They're all weird. Freaking weird. And she was one of the handlers. Who has benefited from the death of Charlie KIRK? You don't think BB's that stupid? Hey, let's kill Charlie in full view. Let's not slip him some poison for a heart attack or a stroke. Let's not have an accident in his plane where they can speculate all day. No. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll shoot him in front of everyone with a neck with the furry, tranny, rage horseshit. Yeah, let's do that. Hasn't worked out very well for Israel, has it? So who benefited from the crime? I'd say Candace OWENS Masters benefited, which is what? Breaking off popular support, the American popular support for Israel. And what's the message from Candace and Tucker Carlson? Withdraw, isolate, get out of the Middle East, get out of NATO, withdraw, no more endless wars, withdraw, leave Iran alone, leave Iran alone. Yes, Lord Jakob, if he was still alive, would like you to leave his asset, globalist Iran, alive. Klaus Schwab, their friend, Chatham House, Royal Institute for International Affairs, and the Council of Foreign Relations also wish for you to leave Iran alone, please. Now the US will dominate the Straits of Hormuz. Now the United States will dominate the energy, oil, and gas flow to both Europe and China and India. Hello? That should make sense to you now about who and what she represents. It doesn't make the other side who hate her any better. They're still pieces of stinking, lying garbage themselves. That's why they can't come out and go after her, truly go after her, about who her true master is. And the fact that we cannot even have a discussion about who did the daddy-in-law who came out and said on a tweet, "Oh, my daughter-in-law is an anti-Semite. It's just terrible. I don't know how this happened." That's his daddy. It's all you need to know. Now, if you ever see anybody anywhere with any audience mentioning the fact that Candace OWENS' sperm donor, her husband, father, is besties with Lord Jakob Rothschild. Not just Lord Jakob. Not just Lord Jakob. Ladies and gentlemen, and I'll leave this linked below. Where are we? Let's find King Charles, shall we? There's a lot of interesting names in here. I'm not going to go through them, but somebody else can. Where's King Charles? You know, it's the old gang, the old Hofjuden, court Jews of Europe. The Hofjuden, the court Jews, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys. The elite nobles, the inbreds of the back alleys of Krakow, Poland. These inbreds, Kabbalistic inbreds, who then go and mix with the inbreds of the Habsburgs, the Spanish inbreds, the European noble inbreds, and all these inbreds all mixed. And if they happen to produce a beautiful daughter, they try to intermarry her into these noble families. And that's what you see now, perfectly illustrated by this group. The Council of Christians and Jews. King Charles XX, His Majesty, announced his patronage of the Board of Christians and Jews. They are all the damn same. And here we sit. Oh dear, I haven't played any of this. I don't see the point. I've made my point. It's July 4th. I don't blame anyone. Let's do a summary. Look, I don't blame anyone for hating America. I know Muslims have lost loved ones. What do you want them to do? Love America? America, it's pretty easy. What you need is a chief executive officer, a general, to stand up and explain everything, where the United States is going and what they're doing. The elites know they're going to get reamed in the ass. They know that. So why doesn't someone come out and tell them? Because these things are handled quietly. And what they're doing is looking for leverage and deals. They know it's over. They know the multipolar world order. They know it's over. They're in the grieving process, acceptance soon. But they're still looking for leverage and a better seat at the table. That's why King Charles is over. It's not an accident that Starmer's running to China. Carney's running to China. He's literally agitating for a revolution against America. I mean, it's like he's weird. Dude, you're going to get absorbed. Look, Canada, I don't mean to be mean to you, but you're not going to exist in 10 years. Well, put it this way. The Western provinces will be gone in 10 years. That's the plan. I'm at the point where I'm thinking Mark Carney is in on it and he's done a deal with Trump. Look, I'll help destroy the country, hand it to you. And meanwhile, all his companies have all moved to the US. I mean, I'm starting to wonder if that's not true as well. I really am. Because it's like bizarro world. I don't want to get too Stalinist paranoid, but it's like, are these people for real? They're really carrying on. They're already doing deals with Mexico. Mexico will be sitting pretty, God willing, so I have somewhere to stay. And hopefully the relations will improve with the United States. And maybe they'll do an education program. Maybe you need to tell Mexicans, like no Mexican here knows the $5 billion of investment going into Querétaro, Mexico. They know nothing about it. The government doesn't even tell them. You'd think the government would be telling everyone, hey, there's a lot of investment coming in, but apparently they can't be bothered telling them. It seems very badly run, very badly managed. Everyone seems very divorced from reality. And you have, excuse me, my butt. You have a real lack of someone coming out and explaining how the next 10 to 20 years are going to be. It doesn't help that Tucker Carlson and Candace OWENS raised some serious points. I'm sorry, but Donald Trump is a thieving, lying piece of garbage who is enriching himself. We're up around, officially $2.8 billion. I say it's going to be $8 billion by the time he leaves. $8 billion, but he's at 2.8. He is personally enriching himself. He's doing it in plain view. That Qatari jet, which they say is a temporary replacement for Air Force One, yeah, they're building 2 new ones at Boeing right now. They'll be ready in a couple of years, and you know exactly what's going to happen, don't you? He's going to take that aircraft and keep it, and he'll just do it in full view. Yeah, I don't care. The leftists will get you. The leftists will get you if you don't vote for me. Look, Trump doesn't care. There's no lower form of filth than Trump, except Biden, who's a pedophile who's raped his own daughter and probably fondled his own son, Hunter Biden, who's a literal pedophile. Who's probably, I got pictures of him and it looks like Obama's daughter doing cocaine with Obama's daughter, having sex. Got pictures of him masturbating while taking pictures of his 14-year-old niece, and he's masturbating in another room, taking pictures of her. The guys are creepy. I'm sorry, you don't take drugs and suddenly start getting off and taking pictures of your 14-year-old niece. That's not normal behavior. I don't care how high you are on drugs. That's the behavior of a sick, twisted, demonic little individual. But Candace had Hunter Biden on, and who's best friends with Hunter Biden? Tucker Carlson. They're all from New York liberals. Ivanka and Jared are notorious New York liberals. Mandani is hanging out with Chabad Lubavitch. They all got the same hookers, the same whores, the same Epstein rings, the same Victoria's Secret models, the same coke dealers, the same meth dealers, the same drug money laundering rings, all of them. Donald Trump is a filthy, disgusting piece of garbage who makes President Rubio look like a saint. And I'm just praying, please put Rubio in. I don't want J.D. Vance in, for obvious reasons. Another Peter Thiel. He'd actually probably make a good president. Excellent speaker, very smart, but it's just so manufactured. It's just an insult. He needs to just go away and die somewhere. I'll take Marco Rubio, thanks. He speaks Spanish. He'd be a good president for the age. He's surprised me as far as things go. But the fact that the Republic hangs on this disgusting animal, this World Wrestling Federation, grab him by the pussy half-wit compare, a multi-billionaire property developer who's worth $250 million. And I'm sorry, multi-billionaire property developers don't side hustle as World Wrestling Federation compare / actors and reality TV show hosts. Why don't you just stop your fantasy? He was worth about $250 million. That's why he didn't want you to see his tax return, because you find out how poor he actually is. He's just a little rat for the FBI for 40 years, like all the rest. Has he worked well as a disruptor? He has been an excellent disruptor. I'll give him that. As a disrupting influence, I mean, no, only Trump could do it. Only Trump. So as a disrupting, shattering bull in a china shop, the madman, been excellent. But I think it's time to go now. I don't care how he goes. Kill him. Just execute him. Well, you execute everyone else. So if ever there was one who deserved execution, it's him. Throw him down some stairs. He killed his own first wife. Ivana was murdered, thrown downstairs because she used to pick up the girls for him from the trailer park, the 16-year-olds. She used to drive around with Ghislaine. That's well known. I'm actually in touch with people who are saying that Guffrey's full of crap and still alive, and they believe it. She lied through her teeth. She was told to make herself 2 years younger. They were all getting old diaries. Their lawyers were telling them to do stuff. Who'd they get? Is anyone in jail? Did you see Bill Gates? Oh, I didn't know Bill Gates. Is anyone in jail? Is Fauci in jail? Are there paperless ballots? Are they really going to do a 2028 audit of the Pentagon? More bullshit, most likely. Where's the paperless ballots? Or hear about the ID. Let's talk about paperless ballots. It won't leave their stinking lips. They will not say, we need paperless ballots. They won't say it. They said it before in the other election. Suddenly they're silent on it because electronic voting, I presume, is working for them now. But they've still got to get the voter ID in. At what point do you draw the line up higher instead of down around your bowels or voiding poo out of your backside? Why don't you raise the bar up to about here for a change, America? And say, we don't want this clown. Take his Eastern Bloc whore GRU wife, Melania, jam it up your ass, throw her out, throw him out, send him to Russia. Just get rid of them all. Chabad, Howard Lutnick, Stephen Miller. Although, look, I'll give Stephen Miller this. Stephen Miller is just a vile, disgusting human being. Before we talk about Jewishness, his Jewishness is actually irrelevant. He's just an obnoxious human being. He's just very easy to hate. Lutnick's another thing. Man, Lutnick they just go. Chabad. I want to eject every single last Hasidim from the United States of America. They shouldn't be there. You don't have raving religious lunatics who openly talk about your destruction and killing the goy anywhere near. No, you don't want them in your country, end of story. Throw them back to Ukraine. Throw them back to Russia. Don't send them to Israel. Israel doesn't want them. That's an important place now. Throw them out. Throw them to Ukraine, throw them to Russia. Some big Slav boys will sort them out. Get them out. Raise the bar, America. But how do you defend that orange effing clown? He literally has no idea where he wouldn't even know where Qatar was. All right? He's a cunning. He's not smart. He's cunning. He's a rat. He has worked for the FBI for over 40 years along with that other deviant, Roger Stone, and they've all found Jesus. He mocked the hell out of Christ with his tweets, and Tucker Carlson raised an important point. Does anyone believe for a single second that Donald Trump would poke fun at Rabbi Schneerson? Anybody? Anybody believe that? And Chabad Lubavitch? Never. Valid point. So we've got the City of London half-wits Tucker and Candace, pieces of shit, and yet they have points on this other piece of shit here. So why don't we get rid of all the pieces of shit, Candace included, Trump included, Chabad included, and then we can start having a discussion on the biggest issue of all, which is why are all the programmable logic chips, industrial controller chips, every single database, computer chips, why are they all backdoored? Who has control of those backdoors? And why are you overlaying Israeli technology over the top of everyone's critical infrastructure and then openly stating it is Israeli and it will be AI real-time monitoring of critical infrastructure? Why don't we ask that question? And I assure you that question will not be answered by him or anyone else. And until we understand they are all pus-ridden filth, and we have to raise the bar much, much higher. You don't expect miracles, but if you're going to play alt media superstar, you might want to tell me who did 9/11. So if you're going to believe Candace Owens is anything but a lying little whore married to a homosexual with her silly 2018 love story that she came up with 1 degree of separation to Lord Jacob Rothschild himself, Dracula himself, whose whole family, all right, George Farmer, the husband, private, Oxford, City of London, Canary Wharf. I'm sorry. And you're telling me that you're exposing the Rothschild? Did you know that she mentions the Rothschilds? Look, she even mentions. Do you want to hear? You ready? Wait for it.
Rothschilds, and it's Israel.
Oh, it's Rothschilds. Here we go.
I think you should take the Mossad at their word when they say we are the directors, the actors, we can infiltrate any organization, any company. We're the script writers. I believe that.
Well, the Mossad's all powerful. Is that why Brendan O'Connell is still alive, single-handed? Does you see the drivel? All powerful. Mossad, take them at their word. I'm so scared. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm a multimillionaire ass flying first class. The Mossad, Rothschilds. Oh my God.
That's a 60 Minutes interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After referring to, how they were able to infiltrate and get the PETN explosive Petin into the beepers, and how they created all these fake companies with fake employees. And I think about, when I hear those words, Charlie and his life, and how I think it became an Israeli Truman Show, but similar for Trump. Everyone around him is just working for a higher boss, and it's the Rothschilds, and it's Israel.
Whoa! Just like holding up a book. Oh my God, look, there's a Talmud. I'll just pop that back down if I establish my credibility. So you mentioned the Rothschilds, and ladies and gentlemen, I have just shown how she has 1 degree of separation from that entire social network. And everyone's just being gaslit. It's just like putting Hamas in 5-star hotels next to the biggest US, UK airbase in the world outside the United States. It's the biggest airbase in the world outside the United States. And there's Hamas in 5-star hotels, kicking back. Ugh. There's Bibi, as we've seen before. The old video I just put back up. Bibi saying, yeah, we run Hamas. Yeah, it's not a problem. There's the Shin Bet, Yizra Hossun, a Syrian Jew born in Damascus. He's an Arab, but he's a Jewish Arab. And he's their best recruiter for recruiting Arab spies. We might work out who's running all this Islamic terror. We might work out, like her, she's an Islamic, she's just part of the terror network. And she's very confident to stay in there. I'm sorry, but George Farmers actually can't work. Did you know that? Did you know that everything's registered in the LLC that they own? It's back in Great Britain. They're in Tennessee. Just down the road from Shaun RYAN, I might add. They're all grouped in Tennessee. Tennessee. You know, I find that very interesting. George Farmer, right, is in America on a green card as a spouse. He can't actually work. Did you know? He's not allowed to work. So why don't they just deport him? See, I like simple questions. Deport him then. What's going on? Well, they can't deport him. Why is that? Are they all involved? No, it's because they're all dirty and they're just sitting there fuming at each other from across the fence line. It's like a neighbor in a fence dispute. They're all, because they're just so filthy. That's what you don't understand and I understand. They're so freaking filthy. And they play these stupid little Cold War games where one promotes this side, and then they use this person, and they use that person. That's why I sit in the middle, because I won't join a side. You're all filthy scum. That's why I got 2,000 views. That's why I earn $1,000 a week US in Mexico. And I'm not on 10 grand a month, as I was told I could have if I would play the game. No 9/11 and promote Trump. Not fucking happening, ever. I will never lower myself to the level of this pus. And I promise you, as God is my witness to you, pus-ridden filth like Kokinda and that Promethean Action Group, you are the perfect example of people who have sold out for cash and are just going to push Trump no matter what and never go, wait a minute, this is not right. Who is Chabad Lubavitch? What are they doing there? Who is controlling US and world critical infrastructure? What is Pax Silica? Have you heard anyone say Pax Silica? You've heard about this merging of American and Israeli military. I had to break to you, merged 50 years ago. And it's way worse than that. Way worse. So, Pax Silica, anybody? But none of them will say it. It's the same old technique. I'll give you a tiny bit of the biscuit. I'll cross-promote the crap out of you, and you stop right there. No 9/11, no Chris Bolin, no Pax Silica. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. I'll get 2,000 views on YouTube, shitty old YouTube. I'll get another 2,000 views on Patreon. All up, a total of 4,000 to 5,000 views maximum. I'll just sit here and they're just giving me enough money to live because they don't want to deal with me. They know once I can't afford to live, I'll be on that plane to Perth and we'll have a violent showdown at Perth Airport. They know that. That's why they, too many people know. They know about the Pentagon contacting me. They know about JSOC, SOCOM. They know. They know about General Milley's JAG contacting me, his lawyer. So why don't we all just stop it now? Colonel James McMahon, SAS, retired, a high-level intelligence operative in Australia. I was going to hang out with them. I was invited out for beers with them. It's too late now. So let's just feed him some cash. And then when I got shitty at the Pentagon gal and her brother and I named them all, suddenly the money just went, 1,500. I used to get 5,500 a month. It hasn't been like that now for 7-8 months. It's down around 3,800, 4,000. I got to pay tax on that. That's what this will get you. Okay? This is what this will get. Telling the truth will get you this. Obscurity. And if they're not going to kill you, you're trapped in Mexico, you don't speak the language, no one gives a shit here, so we'll just leave him there. Just leave him there. And let him keep pissing into the wind. I do this because Mary Silver's doing some good work, and I just spoke to her last night. We recorded it, and I'll upload it. And I hope that you will understand that I just sit here with just a sliver of hope that something will change. And I survive. That's it. I survive literally week to week, month to month. I had to watch this garbage, and I've got to watch Candace Owens roam around completely untouched with this giant, look at me, I'm a Rothschild on her head, and no one will say it. Hello, the emperor has no clothes. The emperor is 1 degree from City of London Rothschild. The emperor is married into the City of London social network. Zach, Jimmy Goldsmith, the homosexual boyfriend, Robert Mercer funding, or Rebecca Mercer funding, Tucker Carlson, who was trying to tell Breitbart and Steve Bannon to stop the populists' bullshit, or they would take away the money. Well, they took away the money. Because whatever Bannon's problems, and there's plenty, he's a nationalist, I'll give him that. But I'm trying to find someone I can relate to and say, oh, good for you. All right, you're not perfect, but that's right, I'm not perfect. We learn, we make mistakes, we didn't know. But I can't find that person. It's like Bannon does so much brilliant stuff and he just destroys it with his half-witted shit. At least he's stopped his rampant drinking and drug taking and cocaine and hookers on Mars Gal's yacht. I guess there's that. Cleaned up his act, put some anti-dandruff through his hair, stopped looking like a damn homeless man. I guess there's that. But there's just so many gaping holes. It's like, oh, it's so depressing. And you know what? As Vladislav Surkov and the great hypernormalization Adam Curtis says, maybe the demoralization is part of the game. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk again soon.
What is our common bond truly? Freedom. Freedom. Without freedom, you can't be a Christian no matter what denomination you belong to. You can't be a Buddhist. You can't own a donut shop. You can't drive from here to Oregon. You can't be an American because that's what it's all about, and it's the only thing that it's all about. Nothing else. Nothing else. It's about freedom. Complete freedom.